Pure firepower, map control, and the most effective set of flashy skills to use on the enemy. 14 agents with a huge spectrum of abilities are hitting the Valorant servers. But it's not easy to find the right combo of agents to make your strategy work. Duelists, Sentinels, Initiators, and Controllers. You need the right balance of these to take the win home. Especially the Duelist position, which seems to be open for discussion. You take a Jett, a Raze, or even both of them. Top teams such as BBL, Gambit, or NIP seem to have the latter locked down.
Я бы выделил двух таких агентов, как Jett и Raze. На мой взгляд, оба данных агента способны хорошо выходить первыми, проявлять инициацию, также отводить прицелы, внимание на себя, что при выходах на точку является очень важным.
If you aim to get on a spot such as Ascent from B main, Jett is perfect to smoke market and take a peek into B. With that, she gets the info about possible positions of the enemy. Meanwhile, a Raze could be taking over mid-control with the help of her grenades and flank out the opponents on the B side. But what about the other ones? Can Reyna, Yoru, or Phoenix make a bigger impact on our scene?
I think Reyna's a little bit underrated in EU. We were trying it recently, obviously didn't work very well, but I think there are maps for it. I think specifically Icebox.
With that wide open space, it gives Reyna the possibility for 1v1 situations without many chances to hide for their opponent.
Element, you absolute monster! What is this?
But duelists are one thing. Let's talk about controllers. These are the agents that lead their team through the map with a perfect set of supportive and smoke utility. Brimstone, Omen, and Viper. You'll see one of these smoking hot agents on each server. Take that for granted. Omen seems to be the go-to choice for every team because he's the perfect all-rounder. Long-range smokes, incredibly strong flash, and teleport skills for information and opening up space. This is why elite squads such as BBL, Gambit, and FPX pick him almost instantly on every map. But that doesn't mean Viper and Brimstone are bad picks. Both have a great set of skills and are often picked together to gain an advantage in the post-plant situation. Brim's smokes and Molotov are perfect to stop the defense's retakes, while Viper's snakebite on the spike can delay the defuse even more. Especially on Icebox, which seems to be the perfect spot for Viper. The map has so much space and needs abilities such as Toxic Screen to narrow the field of attack down and limit the angles that attackers need to peek. Next up are Sentinels, Cypher, Killjoy, and Sage. The latter has been underrated for quite some time, following her nerf on the heal and wall.
Sage has, for a long time, people said, Sage is not so good, blah blah blah. I think Sage is really underrated in terms of people thinking her as a Sentinel, which I really don't. I think if you see a lot of good players play Sage because you have a lot of freedom. You have also in your back head that, well, I can take a duel. If I get low, I'll just heal myself.
But it's not only Sage that makes a strong appearance in the VCT. Teams such as Gambit, Footballist, or NIP even go for a double setup, including Sage and Killjoy. On a narrow map such as Ascent, Sage would be playing on B, ready to slow down opponents using a wall or slows in the right moment. Meanwhile, Killjoy will defend the more open spot of A, using her turret and alarm bots. Playing this position solo allows for an extra player to roam around the map and be ready to take over each side of the map when needed. So we have our setup almost complete. But who's filling in the last position? Whatever region you look at, one agent is dominating the pick stats all over the world.
Bence her takımın çoğu haritada alması gereken karakter Sova.
His advantage is clear. His utility gives you all the information you need to take control of a round, and that is his main focus. Take Ascent for an example. You send out his arrow and later drone to check if opponents are preparing to attack a site. You gain all that information, without ever actually risking being taken out. Split is the main map where Sova isn't picked, because it's too tight and narrow, where his recon arrow won't serve the same purpose as it does elsewhere. It's not easy to find the right setup for your squad, but what are some general things you should look at?
Bence en iyi takım kompozisyonu en az bir düellocu, bir gözcü ve bir kontrol uzmanının olmasıdır. Onun yanındaki hero'lar ise map'ten map'e göre değişir.
There are many compositions that can work for your team. Breach, Sky, even Phoenix have strong arguments. Every top-class squad has its own approach to find their agents.
The biggest thing for me is to not care about the meta at all. So I always say, look at the team you have, the players you have, what will work with what you want to do. You know, will a Phoenix work with your game plan, or will a Breach work, or Killjoy, whatever, right? I always say, you know, don't care about everybody else. If you're playing a team comp that nobody's playing, that's just a bonus, that's a plus.
14 agents to choose from, at least for the next tournaments, because with agent number 15, Astra, another controller will be available in the future, and what the meta will look like then is still in the stars.